Folks, good evening and welcome back to the Snakebite. It is our weekly sports show that airs every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Well, it's only getting busier here. I'm John Kristovich with James Simpson. We got lacrosse news. We got more basketball news as they wrap up their regular season. The swim Sunshine State Conference Championships are already underway. We'll talk about all that and more. Here is this week's edition of the Snakebite. Well, as I mentioned, we're in crossover season. We got a whole host of scores here to put up on our screen, and well, as we'll see here in just a second, it was a busy week for the Moccasins. You start with women's basketball, men's basketball. They both picked up a pair of W's against Rollins College. A lot of baseball games to be played, and the Moccasins came out on the winning end on the majority of them. A couple softball games for the Moccasins. They wound up taking a win over King, and lacrosse back in action, as well as tennis against #1 ranked Barry. We'll talk about all of those, starting with the Mocs men's basketball team's performance this week.
Yeah, absolutely. They continued their winning ways, winning in both their contexts this week. First against Rollins, 124-113 in overtime, a big overtime victory, then escaping Tampa with a close 91-84 victory. Both rivalry victories were in great part due to another stellar performance by Mocs guard Jaden Booth, who earned his second SSC Player of the Week award following 29 points per game, 5 assists per game, and 4 rebounds per game over the 2-game stretch. The Mocs sit firmly in second in the conference with an in-conference record of 11-6, and with just 3 regular season games left, they've clinched a spot in the SSC tournament. They'll face off against Embry-Riddle this Saturday, February 28th at the George Jenkins Fieldhouse.
And on the other side, James, the women's basketball team looking all right for themselves. They led off the past week with a 60-48 win over their SSC opponent and rival Rollins College. Mocs were led by Ashley Schell and Ariel Dabu, per usual, who combined for 26 points and 18 rebounds, propelling the Mocs to victory over the Tars from Winter Park. They then went to play Tampa, the #3 ranked Spartans, where they didn't exactly have the same success, losing 65-44 against one of the best teams in all of Division II. Mocs are the 5th ranked team in the SSC with a conference record of 9-8 heading into this weekend's games. And they play an Embry-Riddle team, a conference record of 5-11, clinging to their tournament hopes. So that'll be at the George Jenkins Fieldhouse this Saturday night. With a win, the Mocs can clinch a spot in the SSC tournament, which will begin on February 28th.
Unfortunately, the men's lacrosse team fell in their home opener to Anderson University this past Friday night. In what was a really competitive battle, the anticipated matchup, it did not disappoint as the squads found themselves in a first-half shootout going to the half knotted at 13. The Mocs, plagued by some untimely penalties and a tough evening at the face-off X, fell victim to an 8-goal scoring run in the second half as the visiting Trojans pulled out to the 19-15 win. The Mocs still ranked 18th in the country as they take a brief early season hiatus until their next matchup with top 10 ranked Limestone in a week and a half here at home.
Yeah, good to see that they're still ranked in the top 20, and boy, it doesn't get any easier, as you said, with Limestone. Well, on the women's side, boy, they will open their slate of games finally this weekend as they travel to start their season on the road. The Mocs, ranked 4th in all of Division II, are going to take on the 23rd ranked University of Mount Olive Trojans this Friday afternoon before going up against 13th-ranked Wingate. Mocs actually beat the Wingate Bulldogs twice last season, most recently in the first round of the NCAA tournament. So this one is sure to be charged with vengeance on the mind. The team won't come back to Lakeland until next Friday when they take on Adelphi in another highly anticipated match.
Men's tennis continued their start to the season with a loss this past Saturday as they faced off against the undefeated defending national champions and #1 ranked Barry University. But it's not all doom and gloom. Despite sitting at a 1-2 record, the Mocs took Barry to a close finish as they eventually fell to a 3-4 decision when they lost a doubles point. Tough. After dropping 3 singles courts, the Mocs fought back to secure each of the 3 remaining courts via a 3rd set tiebreaker, and individually the team is heating up. As for a second consecutive week, another Moccasin has been named SSC Athlete of the Week. Mateo Fiji brought home the award right after another Moc, Chris Falcao, claimed the award just the week prior. The Mocs travel to play Eckerd College in St. Petersburg on Saturday, February 18th at 11 a.m.
Boy, James, I feel like we've been using the word highly anticipated a lot, and boy, it doesn't stop here. We saw the women's tennis team also run into the #1 ranked Barry University Bucks this weekend as they fell in a 6-1 loss at home in their regular season opener against the 5-time defending Division II national champions. Isabella Garcias Bolivar claimed the Mocs' only point in a hard-fought third-set victory against Barry's 𝙏𝙃𝙀 𝙎𝙉𝘼𝙆, but that isn't to say the Mocs didn't put up a fight as they did face a challenging opposition, 5-time defending champs. Maxima Ellenberg and Olivia Bryant held their own as they tried to give the home team a chance, but to no avail as they each fell in 2 sets. Mocs still ranked 24th in the nation, looking to bounce back this Saturday as they head towards Boca Raton, Florida to face off against #6 ranked Lynn University.
You know, John, that's the great thing about playing tennis in the SSC Conference. You never take your foot off the gas, always playing against high-level competition. And Mocs baseball had a busy weekend on the road as they went up against and defeated the University of North Georgia Nighthawks 2-1 in their first road series of the season. While they did split a doubleheader with the Nighthawks on Friday afternoon, they came back late in Game 3 on Saturday for a dramatic finish, taking the overall series win. It's been interesting to watch this Mocs team secure their footing and find their chemistry with so many new transfers. It's going to be a season defined by identity. The SSC recognized sophomore transfer Drew Kavanaugh as Baseball Player of the Week this week following his dominant performance in the first 7 games of the season. The first week of Mocs baseball saw Kavanaugh go 4 for 10 at the plate, racking up 2 home runs this past weekend, along with a 2 RBI single that would go on to be the series winner against University of North Georgia. The team will go up against Georgia College on the road this weekend for another 3-game series.
And as far as the softball team goes, they also traveled to Dahlonega, Georgia this past weekend to face off against the University of North Georgia and King University. Lady Mocs fought hard, ultimately fell in both of their games against a very good North Georgia team. However, they did go 1-1 against King University with an impressive 4-2 victory on Monday. Senior Kelsey Peck, having a phenomenal start to her season, helped lead the team to victory once again with her impressive 4th home run of the season, put the Mocs up 4-0, a lead they would not relinquish. They held the Tornadoes to only 2 runs in the final inning, able to finish out strong with a 4-2 win. This weekend, the Mocs head down to Miami Shores. They'll battle it out against Barry University as the team gets their Sunshine State Conference schedule underway.
In track news, the men and women's track teams are working double duty this week. They will close their indoor season out with the Collegiate Last Chance Qualifier up in Gainesville, Florida, tomorrow, February 16th. Both teams will look to sharpen up with some fast 800 times and relay events before heading to the Tampa Track Classic on Saturday to open up their outdoor season. And it is finally championship season for the swim teams here at Florida Southern College as they compete in the SSC Championships from today all the way until Sunday the 19th. It's already underway. The SSC is one of the deepest conferences in Division II swimming, and the 16th ranked men's team will fight to repeat as champions against some very tough competition. 25th ranked women's team finished 3rd last year and will look to prove the doubters wrong at the conference meet. And not that we want to look past the conference championship, but it feels like a good time to briefly cover the NCAA qualification process and where the Mocs currently stand. So, at the beginning of the season, the NCAA releases A standard times and B standard times. The A standard is always faster. If you get an A standard time, you automatically qualify for the NCAA swim meet, the national meet. If you get a B standard time, you've got a great chance. They take fastest to slowest until the events are finished. The men and women's team both have 6 individual athletes that have achieved B standard times, and it will be interesting to see how they compete in Clearwater, Florida throughout the SSC Conference. Hopefully, we'll get some more of those B standard times and send a bunch of people to the National Swim Meet. You can follow along with the action on FSCMocs.com and the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network.
I tell you what, James, there is few things more exciting than the conference championships because, as you mentioned, they're already underway at the time of you viewing this, and then they will compete all the way until this weekend. Should be great stuff. Well, that brings us to our moment in Mocs history. Today we are looking at February 25th, 2007, when the women's golf team hosted the Lady Moc Classic, outlasting a field of 13 other regional foes to win the event on their home course. Mocs would go on to win the Sunshine State Conference Tournament, the South Region Tournament, and then the National Tournament to win their 4th national championship. And now, 16 years later, the Mocs will once again host the Lady Moc Classic next Monday and Tuesday. They look to begin their quest for a 5th national title. John Christopher, James Simpson, saying thank you so much for tuning into this week's edition of the Snakebite. We will see you next Wednesday at 5. Look at the little segment. That was a little